Yes, ma'am.
Good evening and welcome to the Work City Council meeting for September 23rd. Meeting is now called to order. Let us stand for a solemn prayer and the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Deputy Clerk London, please call the roll.
Somebody that's texted me that too late doesn't go anywhere.
Okay. It is live streaming right now. Yeah. YouTube link is up. So I don't know.
So I was gonna add, sometimes the links, they don't work properly for whatever reason, but if they put in their name, the password,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So the YouTube link is up right here.
It's up.
Yes, ma'am. It's up in one.
Deputy Clerk London, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Lemon. Councilwoman Pepperton.
Here.
Councilman Castle.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Councilman Franklin.
Here.
Councilman Payne. Councilman Williams.
Here.
City Manager.
Madam, Council, it's quite a meeting from what I want to thank. I'd like to see if we can complete the agenda. I just need to do a little bit more research. We need to, eliminate bill 7314, 7316, 7317, 7319. This month, I would. And also the council hearing portion, presentation should be talking about that. Okay.
City Manager, it's X for motion.
We move to remove section 4A from special presentations and sections A, B, C, D, and E from bill requiring first reading.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have the meeting as agenda has changed. At this time, we move to the second item on the agenda, and it is public comments. We ask that when you come to the podium, give us your name, the street you live on. The clock will be set for 3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to speak. Once you hear the timer go off, you are required to stop speaking and return to your seat. If you go past 3 minutes, I will follow one order. And if you consider, I would ask the police department to escort you out. So we are ready. We have 2 sign-in sheets for tonight. Clerk, are you ready to call the first person?
Yes, ma'am. Travion Scott.
Good evening, council members. I appreciate you learning this evening. My name is Trey Scott. I am the CEO and co-founder of Emerging Business Leaders, which is a new and up-and-coming business organization within the city of Ferguson. Currently, we are currently announcing a new initiative in the city of Ferguson that's going to help local businesses grow economically, but build a self-sustaining, sufficient business district first. And so we had several of the council members visit a couple of our events. These events are catered towards minority businesses in the city of Ferguson. With that, we actually build foot traffic, brand awareness, social media awareness, and cater to a list of other things that we offer just not only just businesses and youth development as well. We currently have the backing of Iowa Folks, who's the current president of the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. We're currently officially a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're looking at a way to push a new minority chamber of commerce here at Ferguson. So we're asking a petition for the council to really put us in the next meeting so that we can talk a little further about partnership with the city council or the city of Ferguson to really initially build and drive into the new official. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Thomas.
My name is Chris Thomas. I'm here at representative of who's one of the first in the hospital. Second meeting, then we just spoke, we were speakers as well. Long story short of this, kind of piggybacking off the trade, we developed a pilot program that's now being structured under the Black Chamber of Commerce. We have for the Chamber of Commerce actually close up. I was both the founder and president of one of the president, but founder of the Black Chamber of Commerce, and actually to structure perfectly minorities. In doing so, the approach is to take a revenue generating approach to a chamber of commerce, something that's actually going to put funds directly back into the standard. The biggest thing is that chamber won't be a symbolic organization, but literally it can be revenue generating of both for the small businesses of the city of Ferguson itself by writing contracts or bringing investment in new consumers and directly into the local economy. The way that it's structured is we're creating, we call it digital marketplace for purpose and all of the business. We're in the company hub, business can now be structured to apply for corporate partnership. I work for AT&T. We've already started this in the city of Northwoods already to some praise with the Department of Legal Department as well as Department and literally create a corporate security item where we have these long conversations about larger companies into the purpose. That would on the city, but it's resident or small business. In doing so, right now in the city of Northwoods, we brought in AT&T. They've already set up their police department on what's called first and responders. So now all first responders, whether they're in hospitals or in the police department, fire department, they now have access to prioritized services. So, prime example, for NATO, everybody serves that. First responders on the first aid program still have access to that. But these are just some of the things that we bring forward with that Chamber of Commerce, but they remain so traditional that double PBL doing all the educational activities and providing margin for that. So, but going to see such a positive.
Thank you.
David Williams.
There's another shot at it.
Will you state your name?
My name is David Gordon. Zip code 63135. First gate through. Never took another shot at it, but he missed. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgive me my trespasses, without forgive those that trespass against me. I have a protected, no taint, bomb, or missile can destroy it. My protector makes the turbulent water calm. A wise man told him, try to walk forward and I'm looking back. We have two predators. We have a wolf and a fox. We know what a wolf is, we stay away from the wolf. A fox can have his mouth open, and you think it's smiling. A fox can get close to you. They're deceiving, nodding. This is what we call the far left white liberal that is in, I care about Ferguson, Missouri. They get close to black people. They make you think that they're your friend. So they try to fire your votes, make you come to their church and donate. Rebecca L. Bryant always put disparaging things about me on Facebook in my daycare, which is not true. She emailed the mayor and told her disparaging things that were not true. I was not able to verbally home at the community center to teach and tutor kids that look like me. It's open to anybody. It doesn't matter what color you are. I will tutor you, help you with financial literacy, but she blocked that. But every time she comes up here, she's screaming Black Lives Matter. My business, that's a black business. I'm tutoring black kids. A month ago, it was an outrage that we were attacking black business because of the history of this country, burning down black business, black town. It's an outcry. And I also want to talk about Patrick Taney, the preacher of St. Peter. We should boycott that church. No business should give any kind of donations or money. This man is scandalous. He doesn't even know me, but he makes disparaging remarks about me on Facebook. But people don't know, he has sent the chief of police, who we all admire, profanity-laced emails. He was on the civilian review board and he got kicked off. This man is supposed to heal the community and bring us together, but he's dividing us. Wake up, people.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Samaya Shields.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Shields, and I hope you can the children. I am part of the probation group. I was invited to the to talk about our program. Our goal is to partner with various living organizations to provide resources for families to prevent a college design and for we do assist with various things like daycare, unemployment, if they need food, uniforms, anything like that. We would want to try to support the prevention team. This could be all the jobs. And I was the one to bring awareness to our operation. Thank you.
Rose Hunter.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Rose Carter, and I'm in Ward 3, and I live on Lakeshore Road. And directly behind me, there's a home with the overly bushes and damage. You might be saying, I'll be trying to see how to. And I was wondering, there was an update on my concern here. It's damn good, and it's first out of the door. So it's everywhere, and you know that's circumstantial. And I do have pictures, so you can kind of see what we want to feel like it's showing. But it is really bad. So I was wondering if it's leaving if you don't. You read the pictures, work, okay, and city manager. So, thank you.
You want to put my name on there? Well, no, it's on there. It's on there.
Wendell Barwick.
Well, council members,
My name is Wendell Phillips Irwin, named after the Admiral Wendell Phillips. And, I first want to apologize and their council, anyone who was here at the last session, I proved those unfaithful. I personally got that not in power. I apologize. About a couple months ago, I through Sunshine, opportunity, Sunshine Act, I requested within a record of how much money our city is purchasing from days, and it started in 73 days. Particularly important to break down and to see portions of the fines level of how much each application receives. Ferguson was the person, single monitor groups, and things. This law firm period. And I got 47 pages, and I'm just gonna start reading them off. January 16, 2025, $3,047 to be utilized this year. Report, data report. Same day, 423 litigation, same day. 15,926 litigation, same day, $132. Same day, $1,060, same day, no, then they took a couple week break. February 6th, 1,061 to was price of the same day, 158, same day, 1,050. This is always the end where the head of this case. Same day on February 6th, 1,500. Same day, February 5th, the day of 1,050. Same day, first was built $6,890 by Louis Rice, help people data report. And then on that same day, 8,480, we gave to Louis Rice, help the North explanation. And the same day, with professional services, compensation, $3,500. I can tell I'll be here. I just want to say, I think the community, we see part of the consent decree today. I mean, our police board started that before the. I want to know what the DOJ has done for our whole class today. I'm not, and this chief has not done himself. The fines are safe. And they should not only be stopped with demand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's green.
All right. Erica Brooks.
For the understanding, he had a witness, and as long as, you know, he got paper there, he has to be like, there. And I don't feel like I haven't given proper, that's the witness, and he has to understand my side and not the body. I'm still waiting for a follow-up meeting for both of us to be able to communicate with the community that civilize people, because like I said, all the outside people, it doesn't work on person. All of that extra stuff to be personal for no reason. Okay, then I also want to talk about, social church and things that, going on in our community where if you watch the news, yesterday they talked about Woodsville and also, Frank Powell, incorporated to the documentation for the, curriculum in their school. And this is about services, about, just being racist. And to the point where I hope our school system doesn't cooperate with that situation where we don't have something, but people our young people, whether it's black, white, whatever, that it's okay to be conservative, white, bias and a good other people according to God's will. It's already praised. So I'm hoping that our city take that into perspective and not allow it to come in our advantage. Because this person is no one from downtown, so it is evidence this is the pretty first place. So that's one thing right there. But I just hope, like I said, when it comes to our city, not regaining the label of being a sundown county and being selfish and not people and just like proud to be the first night without understanding how to have diversity, equity, and inclusion. I hope that people wake up and our leaders, our black leaders, keep our voice politically in this community. And like I said before, I hope that when this word comes, that there, I hope that you all talk, figure things out, because we need our political board in the city of Ferguson as well as in the county. Because as you see, there was a rebirth of a turning point of this country. And while people are seeking their own personal platforms and selling like seeds instead of our whole race. Thank you.
John Kay.
Good evening, my name is John Knowles, and I'm the North Elizabeth Area. This is the council. We are starting a GoFundMe to replace and repair the flags that we put up along Florissant Road during the holidays, during Memorial Day, Fourth of July, Labor Day, Veterans Day. Myself and a group of 5 to 10 people put flags out and take them. With the help of Dave Musgrave, we've been replacing the brackets. Along the street, we have about a third of them replaced right now. And the flags are looking tattered and tangled. But ready. So we're starting to GoFundMe page. I have these little sheets in the back. We've raised approximately $400 so far. We're looking at $3,500. We're going to source American-made flags, 3x5 nylon, works in one piece. We brought me 200 flags that go between Hereford and Woodstock. So it's $2,800. And replacing the brackets and fees for the GoFundMe will cost around $3,400. So we're asking for $3,100. Oh, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and leave these little flyers at the back of the stage, and I thank you.
Thank you, John.
Simone Gooding.
Hello, Lorraine, I'm here about the Scholar Academy of Ferguson. I came back on June 22nd and I put in, when people was here, I put in a zoning and, planning permit for the city of Oakland for Child Care Center. We ended up receiving pushback because they said we were too close to the Boys and Girls Club. We then got a letter from the Boys and Girls Club in support. Then the city manager called me, after I spoke with him, he let me know that there was another conflict between the city of Ferguson about 20 daycares in each ward. And you guys were already over in daycare. Then I came in and I said, your meeting 2 weeks ago. And it was a discussion about voting that it was not related to commercial daycare. And that was clarity that I was trying to get as well. So then, once we got over that I spoke to him again, and then he let me know that the problem was a liquor store was too close or within 1,000 square feet of the Child Care Center. My concern, or what I'm asking, is that you guys can do a special use permit, because I realize that it is a daycare that's on the corner of Chambers and West Florissant, and it's called a Better Life Child Care Center. That Child Care Center actually has a liquor store that sits right in front of it, and it's less than 50 feet away from the building. So I'm not for sure exactly how they got their liquor license, but they do have it. And it was given to them by the state of Missouri, and the city of Ferguson, January 23rd of 2024. So I don't know if it was a special use permit that was done for that, or how they came about, but I do feel like at this time that I'm asking that you guys vote for us to be able to do a special use permit. For us to be able to open up our childcare center. We also have a letter from, Sam Meat Market, basically saying that they're in support of us opening up our centers. We also did a petition online that received over 200, residents of residents in Ferguson that signed up saying that they were also in agreement of us opening up our chapter. So that is what I'm here to ask you today, and I do have the letters as well as my. Yes, ma'am. No, I'm sorry, I was trying to get all of that out if I was talking.
Nothing changed, always, what's cars and chambers is not purpose.
No, it's,
They're over.
no, it's Ferguson because I looked it up and I also sent it to the, council as well.
That,
Thank
move on.
you.
That's right. Okay, let's say. Okay.
Think we, will might maybe look at our more. The more densely populated parts, you're gonna have buildings copies of housing. So this young lady is not asking to have a work club or license to educate the youth. And I keep saying this, so you don't educate. But education brings opportunity. About people who are on this. It's not a live. For that location, that a lot of people might have hard, they will probably how long. They get one bus back and pick them, they get in the ideal location. Or they hear. They can hear them run around. They need to go work. One we might take that into consideration. This is on the third one, I'm taking our local ones and. But this is going to have, think what you're doing. We want children that are educated, we want children that are breaking hard and breaking.
That I spoke to her about changes in the boards and maybe you all know where to be made first. But yeah, I know it's not. So you want to say something more?
So I sent an email to council about a week and a half ago about the. And after reviewing the ordinances, I don't see anything in the ordinance that Chris is staying there from going, we say 300 or 1,000 foot. But we said we were looking about. So I asked this council and that city something in writing and said it's prohibited. So the ordinance says we can't have a bigger license within 200 square feet of a school or a church. There's no mention of childcare facility, so based off of that fact, he doesn't really need a special use permit. A regular normal person, so the lot in that space. So that's just kind of, I was gonna say that for two things, talk about. I'm just letting you know, it's nothing in the book. There's like emergency control. So now if it is, let's produce it so we can see.
I split the, ask something.
I haven't looked at one of you. I haven't looked at the zoning, so I don't know whether a special use permit is required or not, but I will say this. Any member of council can introduce a resolution to grant for a special use permit. There's no need for us to pass this around and borough staff and make a big deal out of this. If you want to grant a special use permit, put in a resolution and we'll vote on it. Well, if she, I understand, but if she's being told she needs a special use permit, introduce a resolution to grant for one, and I think it'll pass. I think
I didn't something.
Okay, but I think if by digging in on that issue, rather than just moving forward and getting it done, she could have that permit already by now, you know? I don't know, I haven't read the zoning law on this because it's not my ward and I wasn't privy to all the conversation. I don't know, but if it does require a special use permit, that's a fact. If staff says that it does, you have a choice. You can either sit around and have an argument with staff, or you can just put in a resolution and give her the permit. I guarantee you, there's 4 votes up here to give her that permit, and she could have that permit. It's a resolution, it's not an ordinance.
How are you speaking?
Then there's at least 4 votes in favor of the special. So rather than have this young lady going back and forth and having an argument with staff about it, if we can introduce resolution, she can have a permit to move forward. It takes 1 meeting to pass a resolution.
We gotta make it.
He has the floor. He has the floor.
Gotta make
That
sure.
if it's. You don't have the floor to
I
that.
know. But we're going down a rabbit hole, and my concern is making sure that you represent the city. That's an issue. So, city staff, I'm not gonna argue with it. It's either can or you can't do it, not at writing.
Okay, you made your point.
You don't have the floor on that.
Now, number 1, if you don't believe the city staff is doing the right thing, send an email to the city manager and copy council. That is how we handle
That's
that.
happened already.
Well,
You didn't respond.
then I'm not city manager.
But I'm saying.
There's no need for me to respond because I'm not the one who makes those staff decisions. So that's the city manager's decision. Now, if the city manager said she needed a special use permit, there were 2 ways of addressing that issue. We can have an argument with staff, which goes on till whenever, or we could have had a resolution tonight. And I'll sponsor it at the next meeting. I'll write the resolution up and sponsor it at the next meeting if she needs a special use permit. And ma'am, at the next city council meeting, if they still say you need a special use permit, it's gonna be on the agenda. I will sponsor it, you will get the permit and you'll be able to move
It
forward.
still has to go to planning and zoning.
Oh, we'll get it from my own, so, no, we'll get it done. Go ahead.
I don't know.
But. The second thing is, according to the word,
Yes, ma'am.
to see if people getting on the webinar.
Nobody's on the webinar. There are people on the Zoom.
If they go out there about what was in that posted, we won't do that, verify it. Yes.
Is that how it's?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's streaming live.
So. Thank you.
Mhm.
One. The one you talk to, you're getting that. And then when it is a good story, then it is a process to be a one. No, there is an out. Every day one. And then the element that I think that now with the new, gas, you can, previously, and it opens sometime like, and there's a date that's that is to because I believe. So what I'm saying is certain times, open the practice on the great point, I know exactly what happened. But it's behind the scenes to identify the problem. My only concern when I spoke to the law is working with that group to make sure that there's safety for the children, because there were huge, automobiles to fix that. So I support, and I don't see the environment cannot do. If they have to go to planning and zoning, when it comes to the council, they'll let it go with the spot. So I am the same person, but this is very different on the house. Thank you. Clerk, please call the next person.
Mildred Climbs.
No decline, 74.4 Castro Drive. First thing I want to say is, doing something wrong. You don't have to continue to do something wrong. If you, I hear the young lady,
Excuse me for a minute. I'm gonna ask.
I'm just wasting my time.
No, stop the time. I'm gonna ask the citizens to refrain from talking to the attorney. If you have anything you have to give, it goes to the clerk. Citizens are not to interact with the city officials. We would have an attorney to keep things. Thank you. Start time.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you. I'm just saying that doing something wrong, you don't have to keep continuing to do wrong, it's right or wrong. And then, you know, we understand it's right or wrong. And also, there's unity, we want unity in our community. So I heard my good friend, John, talk about the flags. And he didn't include Juneteenth, so I'm hoping that when they put those flags out, they will include Juneteenth Day as well, that's a national holiday. Also, one of our citizens talked about the consent decree, and I think a lot of people think that the consent decree is a punishment, but it's not a punishment. This is the further sentence, we went off the rail. A lot of people will agree to that, and that consent decree is putting us back on the rail. Because we had went off this, we're making up policies and procedures that get us straight again. So I wish we would not look at it as a punishment. And the reason it's taken so long, because I've been here since day one, is that the city comes with their time, they drop their feet, to slow the process. And that's the reason it's taken so long. We was met much this. And if we had cooperated and done what we needed to do as a city, I believe the consent decree being monitored will be fine. Well, I'm so glad John put on hold that tax levy public hearing, because I really didn't have time to really study what I wanted to, so I look forward to. Is that all?
Yes, the tax are now. My other hearing, where's the happen? Okay, the public hearing, yeah, this is something really, for the, but yeah, everything goes out of the ordinance.
Okay, but then, and also, I was reading about the awarding of contracts, the city ongoing contracts with different work in the city. And I was just wondering, are we just awarding contracts to the lower bidder, or are we taking this time, are we taking into account these businesses that we are awarding contracts to, how it looks with their employees, whether it was diverse employees, that we're awarding these contracts to. I'm hoping that there are companies that have diversity in their business. You know, what does that look like? And, when you all are awarding those, I'm hoping you just only awarding them to the lowest bidder. Because it's more involved to me as a resident of the city that's predominantly Black, that when we see people working on our streets and roads, that we see somebody out there that looks like us. Thank you. Thank you.
Alan Mueller.
On Lower 435 Larson. I want to thank fellow councilors Covington and Franklin for attending recent neighborhood and steering committee meetings. There's so much good work being made on the consent decree, staying involved, the only way to fully appreciate what being done. I'm surprised that there are still people who think that consent decree is a punishment, that we need to receive a 3-year sentence, have to pay a fine to monitor, and then to let bygones be bygones. Because you couldn't be further from what I have experienced. I've been involved with the NPSC from its very first meeting. I have been a member of the police training committee since the middle of 2020. I have seen profound improvements that I have been and continue to be made within our police department. I believe we should be loudly advertising and celebrating those changes. There are four main reasons why I got involved. First and foremost, I want as many people as possible to get home safely each day. Whether members of our police department, city residents, business people, visitors, even someone going to jail for the evening, we all need to get home safely. Changes forced on us by the consent decree have greatly improved the relationships and procedures that affect officer safety and citizen safety, and yet they allow the officers to remain effective. So let's recognize those improvements. Second, I want everyone in our community to enjoy the rights guaranteed by our Constitution. This shouldn't require elaboration, but even to this very day, we see people in the country denied the basic human rights. Constitutional policing is the essence of consent decree, and again, we need to celebrate our progress. Third, improvements in safety and in constitutional policing should significantly reduce the number of complaints and lawsuits against our city. Avoiding lawsuits is the best way to save money, and let's support the consent decree and help our city financially. And fourth, recognizing the extensive improvements that have been made in response to the consent decree, we have the basis for healing our community. If many policing provisions required by the consent decree, for example, the escalation, problem-based learning, the PTO program, bias pre-training, and all kinds of other things, are so good that they actually provide a good model for how we all relate better with one another. Our department mission, the new police policies, and the character of the current trainings all provide an impressively more professional and effective police force for our city. Instead of condemning consent decree, using it to build anger and division, please go to NPSC meetings, town halls, and quarterly hearings and become aware of what's actually happening. Then we can all celebrate our progress, and together we can start to heal the hurts that continue to divide our community. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Lastly, Laverne Mitchell.
The very reason why we were able to thrive. First, I'd like to say to Councilman, our goal is to be to get on this guidance and do what's right. My goal is to you because I believe you will feel fair and different things you're going to do. And I say you. And I'd like to say to you, keep doing things that you want. I'd like to say to you, keep carrying to. That's what I want you in the hospital. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable for the young lady that came to. We are often saying our young people need to be involved. They need to come to the, I think she was here in a professional capacity. But I just keep thinking that we want our young people to get involved. So I think she was doing her job, but also I think she could have had somebody else to come here. I also think that I may be wrong, and if she's still here, I'd like her to tell me. I was feeling a little uncomfortable myself, because it was like you were telling her she's doing things wrong, but it wasn't right. And that just made me my sensitivity. But we want to support young people and let them know we're glad they're here. We're glad you can extend the capacity of your job. So I just felt a little uncomfortable for her. The other thing I want to ask, how many suits do we have in now? I know you can't give me details, and I don't want details. I just want to know how many suits we have right now, and do we have in. And if someone could answer that in this language, I would appreciate it. I just want to know how many suits we still have pending, do we have in. Thank you. Public comments and now we move to the manager's report. City Manager Hampton. We would like to have three report at this time.
I'm not first bring up Parks Department.
I just want to give you some updates about, the start of summer, what we've been doing, and what just to look forward to.
I'm sorry.
I do have some photos, they're just photos on the slideshow. We kicked off this summer, the first Saturday of May, with the ribbon cutting of our, mini soccer mini events, thanks to St. Louis City SD. It's been a great resource for the city, and the Viacom, that the kids use constantly, way more than we were expecting. We brought very kindly, kids of all ages, even adults, we play soccer, having fun playing soccer, and safe, fun environment. We're very excited about the opportunity to be partnering with St. Louis City SD. That Saturday as well, we kicked off our first farmers market. Our farmers market is, just a great resource to the city. From crafts to games, live music, fresh produce, a ton of fun, delicious food, great vendors. Every Saturday, really about community and farmers market. We're really excited about that. We only have 5 left of this season, but encourage everyone to come out, visit, shop local, get all your fresh produce. We had a great summer concert series, John 501 is over summer, lots of dancing, lots of fun, great band, so excited for everything after that. We also installed a new boardwalk over at Gabriel Wabash Park. If you've not visited yet, you can now walk around the lake, with a child workout. We're partnering with the library to provide a new child's book, every single month. Replacing it usually the first week of each month, it's about 18 pages. You can walk around the lake and read a fun little story. Memorial weekend, we opened Flash of Wabash to the pool. We had a great summer. I'll tell you one thing, a lot of pools have struggled with staffing and lifeguards. We have not had that issue. Our recruitment, our staff was phenomenal. Not getting the thanks for our mandatory staff. Monitoring that pool and keeping everyone safe all summer. A little bit of data, we did see 75% resident and 25% non-resident this year. Last year about 55-45, so a little more residents staying this year. Overall, at least the attendance was down a little bit, about 50%, especially in the hot weekends, it's a little surprising. We're looking at those things next year to get more people out and enjoying the pool. In June, we did our Cops and Bombers event, studying the first year for that, and partnered with our wonderful police department. Had some fun fishing with the kids at the Wabash Park. Last year, we did ladder and alert with the fire department, and each year we're going to alternate to make sure we ladder and alert the fire and kind of go back and forth. But it's a great event, partnering with the Great Department of Conservation, for free fishing weekend, first Saturday in June. On top of that, we had a ton of other events, based on badge events, where Ferguson, Police Department defeated Berkeley. That was a great event we got to help out with. Juneteenth, Twilight Run, 35 run, 2028 open house. We have a flag there as well, so. Events this summer, and of course, 4th of July Festival, wonderful parade, wonderful weather. We had more entries than we haven't had in a long time. Excited to see that parade keep growing, and all the different entries and rooms we have in there. We celebrated Papa Flash Pad Party in July, again, partnering with our wonderful police department, fire department. This is a great time, seeing all the kids' smiles, faces, having fun, getting wet, playing in the snow and all of that. And of course, can't mention summer without our wonderful Projects in Adventure Camp. Again, we had 180 kids all summer long. That's 10 weeks, 11 hours a day, 7 p.m. to 6 p.m., 5 days a week. So, ton of fun. I told Kayla she had to live for 6 pictures, and she got mad. She had like 100,000 photos from the summer. So, ton of fun. Kids got a lot out of it. I do want to shout out our staff. A lot of times, summer camp was focused on the kids, but we have an incredible staff. This is the 5th year we've done this. A lot of our staff have been with us from year 1, and this year was sad because we saw a lot of them graduate college. We have 3 staff that are now full-time teachers. So they're growing up with a student program with the kids. So, proud of our seasonal part-time staff. And of course, let me give a huge shout out to our full-time staff. We're somewhat of a small team, but what these guys do is incredible. I'm up here because of all the work that they do. It's all them.
I love the staff to death, so take them here to see them. They've worked a lot this summer, for everything, put on all the programs and events and everything. So, looking forward to the fall, we are holding out the first citywide yard sale, that is September, October 4th. So if you've not registered yet, and we'll keep taking registration up until next Friday. And then we are encouraging people to pick up paper maps at the farmer's market that morning. Again, come shop local at the farmer's market and then go shop around town. I believe you already have 28 homes registered. So it's, you got a lot of shopping to do that day. So we'll bounce around town, but ton of interest in that, really excited about that. And then October hits, we got a ton of fun, exciting Halloween / fall theme. We are dedicating October to the Scarecrow tour. A little Taylor Swift reference, because where that came from. But we got a ton of activities for all ages. We have kids night out grades 5 to 12. Food friends at farmers market, a bingo for our older adults, pumpkin carving at the fire station, for police. A teen night for 11 to 14-year-olds. Our senior all holiday ball, and of course our fall spectacular at the community center. So it's a huge event. Fellows Park updates, as far as playgrounds go, we've made a lot of progress. This spring, we will finish Fellows Park. That was completely done and open and playable. Right now, this morning, Ferguson Community Center street playground is being built. Again, this was 95% funded, through the municipal park, so we'll pay for it. That one, we are hoping to unveil at the fall spectacular. We've been waiting, they're ready today, but the concrete is a little behind, so hopefully we're gonna meet that, but definitely this fall we'll have a wonderful new playground at the community center. And then the next one project we're working on is just a new. We are in the early stage right now. This is just a simple rendering of one of the companies we're talking to, but I hope to have that ready to go as soon as the community center done, and then unveil that in spring. That's the next playground project. Woodford City Park, that one is almost done. We are finished with construction. Construction isn't finished until August though, so we're waiting, obviously, August is kind of hot. So for a lot of landscaping, the grass seeding and all of that. Again, for those, a reminder, this is going to be a trailhead that connects to Greater Greenways, a new trail. This is just an AI rendering, this is what it looks like down on the left. A trail will go through. This is a better rendering of what Great River Greenway is to do. Again, it's fully funded by Great River Greenway. This is kind of map that will go from West Florissant all the way through Florissant Park, and eventually all the way connecting to Jones Trail. So we are hoping to get that going this fall. We're still waiting on the railroad and sidewalk on the final easement. That's kind of the still holding us back, but we're really close to getting the railroad sign off on that. And then the next project that they already started on Great River Greenway is connect that trailhead all the way to Bellefontaine Park, all the way past New Hall Ferry. So this is going to be their next project. We already have 60% design with them. One of the really cool things that Great River Greenway is offering is they're going to redo entryways and as we do the park from that side. They're going to pay for all of that to be done. New crosswalk across the street, an ADA sidewalk that connects all the way up to the new playground we're putting in, a bike rack, ton of others. So that's all they put in by Great River Greenway. This probably is about 2 to 3 years down the road, honestly, but really looking forward to that. Again, working with them and all. Hopefully soon, at one point, you can literally go all the way across Bellefontaine Park, all the way to Knoxville, all the way. First in Community Center Fitness, getting all the update. Something exciting about this one is we're getting a ton of new equipment. A lot of stuff that's ADA accessible, things that we haven't had before, a throw machine, things that can be used by abilities of all ages. So we're looking at getting that installed hopefully in November. And then a trial run, and then January 1, we'll kick off with New Year big meeting, for Community Center Fitness Center and all of that. Excited to provide all of that to the community, to the center. And then, big thing on that is we're working on some tree stuff, the tree dedication, kind of going through our tree canopy, we got rotted trees, dead limbs, things like that. And then our tree dedication is going to be Saturday,
October 15th. We have 90 trees this year, that we dedicating those. We have 90 trees planted. They were kind of trimming up some of the old ones, so around Destiny, area, while that's towards the woods, kind of throughout the year. A lot of big projects we're working on, gearing up for obviously October and fall, and then all of our fun winter, Sand and Sirens will be back, Winter Wonderland, all of the great holiday programs as well. So those are all the updates I have. You guys have any questions? Any questions?
Councilwoman Dobbins.
First of all, thank you for the presentation. You listen, you want to you need people on the report team.
Oh. You want to share that? We are looking for people, serving the park board, they'll advocate for us and they'll provide, input to all these great programs and stuff like that. We're interested in getting involved with the park system. We meet, third Wednesday of every month from 6 to 7:30, with once a month meeting. But you get to learn a lot about parks and get involved with, a lot of stuff that we do.
Councilwoman Dole.
Yeah, they're gonna put a brand new cross table, a feed table. Yeah, I'm not going to say. Yes, yeah, that's two separate projects, but yes, when that project goes from Forest Wood across, to the train tracks and down Ferguson Avenue, yes, there will be a speed table there. I'll have to check on that. We did a traffic inventory, we have a bunch, get more added there, and actually some missing that day, so I'm gonna replace a couple there, but we brought baby traffic in, but here too, so I will double check that. Yeah, it's complicated. I know the one floor we really went to power one. We did turn those trees back now, so we'll have some debris and stuff. But yeah, we probably waited to bring on before the, I think 17 weeks with the power up we did. Yeah, that's on.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Keep going. Presentation of.
Here goes to the council, good evening. Please report. Please report.
Fine, one moment.
Staff forward on Department Burns. Traffic enforcement.
Not working.
To relate to the staffing, getting 866 staff, see some openings there as far as the then again, I'm just not comfortable enough right now. They hopefully, personnel. We comfortable with. You probably close to the end of the. Always these percent. Again, you see some increases, but they're small numbers like 1 to 2 or 2 to 3. The thing I am concerned is aggravated assaults. 15 in August, 8. Again, you see 100% increase in rate, but again, talking about 1 compared to the previous month. Burglaries are becoming a concern for us here in the city. Had a meeting, all of those is going on reason why, but I did have a meeting with my community 7 or burglaries. Or for them. Or so one comparison. It's relates to part 2 crimes. There you go. Again, you see weapon violation, 100%. Again, we got a couple of shooting serious. So last meeting, it is a concern. The previous month. We recall last council meeting, we talked about the domestic assaults, and we were down at that time. But we recall that here, so I can see the increase that will come out. And you can see there, people have PIO pattern, I still discussions of regular words, October, so domestic violence words, still trying to come up with what does it look like for the city as far as put that information. But again, whoever said encouragement to be from local party. You did have a robbery on September 5th, subway, right across the street from the police department. This young man was a former employee of Subway. He was terminated from stealing money from Subway, turned back, basically, tricked the cashier, holding up the cash was a sum of money, obviously, easy to identify. The individual was arrested a year later for about 2nd degree, 2 counts of stealing this. He also was 2018, which is currently in county jail, $3,000 fine. We have another incident here on September 6th, 300 block of South Market. We have a 3-year-old child that was injured, shot, so to speak, by a gun. The child was able to retrieve the gun from a bed located inside the house. One of the parents was arrested for endangerment for the child from the tree. $5,000 arbitrage, which is a reminder that for general public who do have guns and weapons at the house, to make sure that we try to something like a gun lock. I know we see we have the PD, but we don't have any personal gun lock. This has happened too many times, and I don't think I can. I know this is at least the 2nd time that it's happened. This happened obviously, but this should happen. That's it. As relates to traffic enforcement, as far as traffic infractions, we had 3,208 stops year to date. 60% of those citations, 40% of those over. Again, just a reminder that it's a balance enforcement. There is no 2.4 something. Uh, 57% increase in overall traffic accidents, 40% increasing citation vision to 30%. We had 95% increase in one comparative. Basic yields increased 17% in one somewhere, roughly 17%. As it relates to community engagement, police and fire department, my wife, along with the family's wife, put together a basic person sign appreciation of the fire department. For we work hard for this city and we want to the great turnout. Kudos to Pat Washington, Tennessee, discipline, appreciate it. We also attended the next meeting, community meeting, about your residents' concerns. There's a the heights, 10 event, again, the focus was, engaged with the community, further. In collaboration with fire department, we also black folks. Reminder, this Saturday, 12 p.m. to 3 o'clock, correct? All right, we have a national night out kickoff event at the PD, where we're inviting all our community associates to that event. Try to get them fired up in front of the actual national night out. Scale of we're going to give meeting for our community associations involved in this. I think it's really important. You got to further for the fire sale, the community involvement, community. So, for me, that's very good. As it relates to Travis Brown, don't have much of an update. I think this is the last sense. However, my wife and I are lined up for the third, go this. And just as a reminder, because every time I started to go visit them, the residents of the city was paying for each month. I died in the city. With that, I'll open for any questions. Some council.
Any questions for the chief?
One of the questions that I would like to take the fire,
Anyone else?
I would like to work enough, I know, to,
Good evening. Be part of the legislative side of the start working at any time we get still. Needs water, continue my. I'm really pleased to be here tonight. Thank you, to Councilman Spencer, Councilman Franklin, to the mayor, to the mayor, to the council. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. And talk to you, by visit someone following the input monitors town hall. Some of you were able to participate in the town hall meeting. It is an opportunity for the monitor and continue to talk to the community about the findings in the semi-annual report, which I credit in providing. For those people in public, you can find that report on the Montgomery website, and you can access that through the city of Evanston's website. It's an extremely comprehensive report. It's a report that is done, in order to give us an idea, as the city, where we are in certain aspects of the consent decree and the work that, still remains and the things that they will continue on. This is a brief presentation for the subject, about 45 pages, and it is extremely comprehensive. So tonight, I just wanted to give you a snapshot of that report, and tell you what we're going to be doing next, and, maybe provide some perspective on how that report is, doing. So the, semi-annual report, the last one was done in October 2024, and this one that is now being filed in support on August 27th, I believe it is, covers activity ongoing through July 2025. The report, I'm just going to talk about how it's structured a little bit. So when the monitoring team looked at the report, or beginning to assemble the report, they looked at three different aspects of the work that we are supposed to do. They looked at policy development, they looked at training, and two aspects of training: roll call training, and then the more robust in-service training, and then compliance. And compliance is more of implementation. What are we doing and how are we doing it according to? So they took a look at those three areas in 8 different aspects of there are 19 substantive areas in the consent decree. So this particular semi-annual report looks at the policing engagement, reform of the person in the code, policy and training, advice for policing, voluntary contact, stop, search, citations, and arrests. First Amendment protected activities, and the first body on camera. There is one section that you will see omitted from that report, and that is section 11, and that is on school resource officers. We pause that program now until we have some further discussion with the school district in terms of how we proceed with their school resource. So, although there are elements pertaining to how we are to conduct the school resource officer program, we are not being evaluated on that at this time because of the. So you won't see that. I also want to point out the fact that there are some areas that, in addition to having being evaluated in semi-annual report, you're also undergoing compliance on body on camera and use of force. So obviously, part 1 and part 2, in addition to the overall summary that being monitored. So how is the report, how was the report produced? What actually happened? This is why I want to spend time with you today, because it's one thing to have the report in your hand, and it's totally different thing to know how this came about. So the subject matter experts in the monitors team, our subject matter experts, community policing, use of force and what have you, and they will look at all of the consent requirements, they will look at policy development that we've done, they will look at all the actions and activities that we are engaging in, and they will come up with a rubric or a measurement tool that they put different standards and thresholds that we need to meet according to the consent. And when they develop that grid, they develop that rubric, then we all meet as a team. And that you see, different teams there, the managers, or they put the three coordinator on there, our training coordinator, students there, so we are all on what are called these crosswalk calls. And with those crosswalk calls, we go through every aspect of every paragraph of the consent decree that is being evaluated at that time. And we discussed what's required from a policy standpoint, a training, standpoint, and a compliance standpoint. It really becomes, based on those conversations, the subject matter experts will go back and they will write a document, and it is that document that will be the foundation for the semi-annual report and for each upcoming audit. It becomes my responsibility after those crosswalk meetings, they can be extremely rigorous. It can be sometimes like a congressional hearing. We can be in those crosswalk meetings, but after those are complete and we get the draft, it is my responsibility as a consistency coordinator to then read through that, analyze it, push back on things that I disagree with in terms of their findings and their interpretation of any evidence or documentation that is being presented, and make sure that we are giving them all of the information that they need, because at the end of the day, our goal is to have a successful compliance. And so that is the process for how those, reports are put together. Those crosswalks are done for every aspect of the system. The ratings that you will see in the report that I've provided for you are substantial compliance, partial compliance, implementation ongoing, not yet implemented, not yet assessed, or not in compliance. And I want to be careful about not in compliance. Typically, when you see that, nobody wants to go through the document and see, where it is. But when you see not in compliance, that does not necessarily mean that we haven't done something or that we've done something poorly. What that means is that they do not have enough information, evidence, if you will, or perspective in order to give us a finding of being in compliance. So it becomes my responsibility to help them, to provide them with information, to walk them through what they need. And if there's something that we disagree on, or we push back, then I'm legal to be there to support us. And I just want to give a shout out to the advice that they have been on, and they have been amazing to work with. When we need litigation about something, when we push back on something, they're really that we will dive into it. Are you up to that?
I was, you are.
I want to talk for a minute about the significant findings and then talk to you about, as I said, there are a number of things. The report says it's 49. And when you go through it, you will begin to see some of the summaries and some of the things we talked about. It really gets down into a very granular conversation and research. But there's some things that I want to point out tonight that I thought were telling in terms of helping you understand how far we've come and where we are. So one of the things I want to point out, the monitor and her team and the subject matter experts noted that there's been a noticeable culture shift in transparency and accountability. And they gave a lot of credit to Susan Hampton, to Denise Doyle for starting that at the top and making sure that everybody who's involved with every step of the way along the consent tree, whether it's training, whether it is community engagement, that everybody understands that it's not an expectation, it's part of our unit, how we. So there's a noticeable shift in there, and I'm happy that they pointed out. They also called out the rapid and present series of policy and training, and the development in those areas. Now, I just want to stop for a moment. We could not do this without our CBO committees and the support. Whether it's the CRB, especially kudos to the NBFC. The training committee is phenomenal. Being able to sit in on some of those meetings and those discussions are not always happening and friendly and sweet. They really get into some back and forth and debate about different aspects of training or in their review of different cases as it comes about during the security and review board. But that is what we are, I think for me, that is one of the shining parts of this consent decree was the establishment of those civilian committees and having them partly to move this forward. There's also, they pointed out the demonstrated ability to achieve the goals when we have support for doing so. We can't do the work when we're not supported. Yeah, we could work when there's a lot of negativity and there's a lot of pushback on things that we need to do. We also, the monitor also called out the target deadlines for the project, the internal meetings that we use, last month. Every Thursday, almost at 10 o'clock, almost about there. They know they have to come to my room. They have to know that they know, our internal command staff knows, we have an internal consent meeting. At that internal consent meeting, this is me, where are we? What's the problem? Why haven't we done? Why can't we do? And what do you need to get them? And so we do those meetings on Thursday, and that's how we are able to move the consent decree progress, that we've been able to do. And we problem solve any hurdle that come up in the way. We need to not to, there are things. We have to around training, so we'll talk about that later. And so we have to problem solve routine, how we're gonna get through. So I'm grateful to them for calling some of those findings out and see that throughout. I'd like to share those with you. So now I want to talk about some of the ratings. I've said a couple times now tonight that this monitor's report is very rigorous and it covers a great deal. So if you look at it, there are over 200 subsections. Over 200 subsections in the 8 10 areas that were reviewed for this report. That means by subsection, I mean there are sections in the consent decree that have tasks. So 200 of those tasks and items that needed to be done were reviewed over 8 major areas of the consent. Of that 200, only 6 not in compliance with it. Only 6. Of those 6, there were 23 areas in the body worn camera area that is reviewed, and that talks about, you know, our officers and the training that they have to utilize the body worn cameras, making sure that they're protecting person and their rights by utilizing the camera properly, when to record, when not to record, all of that. There were 23 areas for review, only 3 were in mind. 2 of those are easily rectifiable with pressure. We switched to new body cams this past year. We've done some training on them. We are really trying to reinforce them a lot of different ways. You can't just turn them once and think, okay, now I got it, send them along the way. Instead of thinking things are smooth. So 2 of those not in compliance have been rectified with the pressure training. And one of those that we were found not to be compliant with, that'll be upgraded with the additional documentation that's going to be training on room service with ACFA and the other qualities. So I called that out because it's important to know that the things that they did find that were not in compliance were not things where our officers were intentionally misusing body worn cameras and intentionally being deceptive about how we are operating as a department. So I wanted to, who are listening from on the town hall, and the project I'm talking about that, to understand that these things are easily correctable. I'm very confident that we do that with the whole call training. I think we will find by the next report that those will be the other area, I put it, there were 6 areas that were not in compliance. The other 3 were found in our use of force area. Use of force is one of the largest areas that is used by the monitor. There are 63 subsections in use of force. 63. Out of those 63, only 3 were found not to be. All of the use of force in use. Of those 3, I've already compiled the necessary documentation that we needed, and I'm confident that will result in substantially compliant rating, which means that I read it, I saw it, I pushed back, I said, well, you don't have the right understanding of this particular subsection, and we've already submitted that information, and I'm waiting for the field data monitor to 5 and confident that we'll get changes in. The other 2 are going to be some remedial actions that are going to be developed training for those. And it essentially deals with, having the officers really understand the different types of notice of use. Three level, type one, type two, type three. Sometimes when they're doing their police report, they will report a type three, type two is a type one, or a type one is a type two. So we're gonna have to do some training visual so that they fully understand, when and how to do their report. The other one, has to do in the, form reporting with making sure that they are documenting all of the use of reports at any meeting. Sometimes they might write a report, they'll put it in the report, but they don't put it in the specific use of force documentation. So as the auditors were going through, they would read the report and they say, oh, I see here documented these reports that I don't see it with. You just have to make sure there's documentation. And how will you do that? And again, for the training, the roll call, and the people along with the. Why did I point that out? Because anytime you talk about use of force, that is one of the main things that is key when you're talking about protecting people's constitutional rights. And I wanted to reinforce that out of those 63 subsections, that the only thing that they found was basically administrative type correctable violation. That should make this committee really considering where we've been to where we're going. And then finally, I wanted to point out you'll see their initials there for FRB. That is our Forest Review Board, where the consent decree requires that we have a Forest Review Board in place to is one of the steps that guarantees protections and investigations in our use of force, along with the civilian review board. We have not yet implemented ratings all throughout paragraphs 189 through 194. I don't want you to be alarmed by that. Those not yet implemented ratings came because the rating period had expired, cut off for what they reviewed. We already have a forest review board. Chief Doyle has the authority to appoint members to that board. He has already made those appointments. He's sitting on that board and accepted those appointments. We just finished a week or two of working on their policies, their procedures, their practices, how they are to meet, when they are to meet. We are holding calendar date open for the chief to do their first orientation. Then they will have a meeting and greet with the PRD. Because they really have, they need to establish the position built before you. So that's the reason why you see them not yet in, their review period ended, before we were able to find things. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really, really excited about the progress that's made, path that is going, how we're going about our work, the work that we are doing. With the community, not doing this to the community or for the community, but we're doing it with the community. Very thrilled that we are able to move it after we can, also have to put it in front. Okay, and the last slide. Up next. So where are we going next? So we just recently are talking about crosswalks and how we put those together. We just recently completed crosswalks for performance evaluation and supervision. So what that means is that they come in, they look at all the instruments that we use for performance evaluations. There's very specific guidelines in terms of what is expected as we evaluate officers and making sure that they are fit for promotions and fit for certain duties and responsibilities. So we just finished that crosswalk. We just finished the crosswalk around supervision. What are our sergeants doing? What are our command staff doing? They know their roles. Are they executing those roles with something else? So we complete those. I'm now waiting for, I'm doing that information and I'm assembling the supporting documentation that I'll submit back to the DOJ into the monitors team so that they can, if there are a couple of things in there we need to take another look at. And in terms of how they're proceeding, what we're doing. So we'll be working on that one. We just had a crosswalk today, this afternoon, on the PA police thing. And so I'll be I now have a better understanding of all of the supporting documentation that they would want when they come in, to be on site. And physically will be in our community, talking to our community. You don't know who they're talking to, they're doing some surveys, they're doing a lot of things in our community policing. So I have a better understanding of what we're doing around that. And I don't have an audit date yet for you, but as soon as I know when you're coming in and get the council and talking to the people in the community, as soon as I have more information about that, I will share it. So in the meantime, I will be pulling together the information needed to answer the questions that came up in today's talk. We'll also, in terms of what's next, implement the safe streets component. I'm really excited about that component. This is one of Joy's additions to our work in the community engagement plan. This one is where we are working with neighborhood associations to actually identify liaisons that will work with the police department to analyze data at a neighborhood base at a granular level, and they will be working with the police department to develop intervention plans based on what we need to see what actually happens in the year. So we are going to broadly identify, there's department to identify leader liaison, forces that I believe has identified their liaison, and so the goal is to kick that off in October after the training, and more training. We're always training. We're never going to stop training. One of the things that we do get a very favorable comments from during the monitors visit and during our crosswalk meeting, the fact that we were able to get the training plan across the finish line that was approved. We also have the training calendar that goes with that, so that we know that what we do is delivered by quarter as it relates to training. Now, why is that important? I really push for quarterly training calendar because I wanted you as a council and I wanted us all to know the costs that were coming due by quarter that we were going to be asking for support for these additional funds. It has helped us in terms of identifying our subject matter experts, getting those contracts to be on time, making sure that we get those back. It is a long process. You can't just say, oh, we've identified a need for this training, then the next day you train. You identify the need for training, you create the policies and practices around that, you identify the subject matter experts, you get the curriculum is given, well, the subject matter expert is then approved by the training committee, the DOJ and the monitor. Then once they're approved, they develop the curriculum. Curriculum then goes to the DOJ, the monitor, and the training committee. Once that curriculum is approved, then we can begin to schedule training. So it is a very dynamic process and it requires a lot of time. So we want to make sure that we get as much of that front loaded as possible. So that we can know going into work 3 or 44, the 6 different trainings, we've got, however many subject matter experts across the state, and state. And on that note, I do want to say that we are trying very, very hard to reimagine how we do training. We want to do that so that we can do it in a cost-effective manner, so that we can make sure that we are good stewards of taxpayer dollars, that we don't have to spend it. This training is expensive. So we're trying to do more with virtual training, we're doing more with training trainer, as a matter of fact, there's a session all day, such as tomorrow, is a training trainer, so we can begin to pull some of this training in-house and capacity. And to be able to do some of that what we want and say it's training. October 7th is the next considered pre-public hearing. I'm sorry. October 7th is the next consent pre-public hearing at 10 o'clock in the Federal Courthouse downtown. We do not know the room yet. Ring around the rosy with the courtroom, so as soon as we know what that is, we'll be able to put that out and really need to speak on it. Probably trying to make transportation in somebody. And then finally, this is important, safety class, but it really is extremely important. We're working on getting the course out of content. We're 99% complete with all the requirements in terms of the informative information. We have one area that still has some discussion and some things that we have to look at. From a legal standpoint, but you can get some agreement in terms of the process for evaluating on an annual basis the work that the court is doing. Then I think we'll be ready. Getting courts out of the consent decree and having them be found compliant starts the clock ticking. Yes, in terms of the figure line. But, our legal team is working very hard to see if we can abbreviate that monetary courts have been doing a lot of this stuff already, and she get credit for it, so I appreciate, the work that they're doing. I just wanted to give a shout out, kudos to, Michelle Richmond, the course administrator from team, because they have done phenomenal work, making sure that we can find it and just being almost everywhere. They've done that. I will stop and make my water and begin the question. Councilwoman Lord and Councilman Boyd. Thank you. So the database, is, referring to the dashboard. Yes, it's a live top. The dashboard is required by consent decree with the public an opportunity to be able to easily access where we are, access data. And we have had a lot of challenges with that. So, but I think we are reaching the point now with the city's conversion to Office 365 and some of the upgrades that are happening right now with the transition to our website. That in the background, we've already been working on what that dashboard looks like. So that by the time the internet infrastructure is there on the website, you'll be able to write it to the home. I think that's something.
People trying to do it, but, so this is the first time I'm going to talk about, Jennifer, what we're talking about. But we get prepared with that. So we start talking about.
Councilman Franklin.
But if we talk to
So yes, we are looking at one of the biggest aspects of the consent decree data. Every substantive section of the actually have a requirement that we use data now on an annual basis. We don't have a package with, I don't know if there's data in the city government at all. So we are looking at two things: software that will help us with that, and partnering with some of the local universities and actually in the public analyze, because we're not going to be found confined without having the data. So we definitely software in that regard. We are also looking again as we reimagine training, looking at software that will help deliver training either virtually or somehow. Pulling it all the sleep for 8 hours. There's some of these training for 8 hours a month, which is not feasible. And so we have to really look at and be very careful about how we deliver it. If you want to do it online, what software is required, what can you do, what can you make sure, some of it is free. I went through the training coordinator, he's speaking, to get us into some free trainings, nurturing training around some of the problems, oriented problems, there are models, the de-escalation, the Department of Justice has a top court, that also a lot of very robust free training. So we're trying to look at that, but there's an extent to that, there's a limit to that. So looking at other software that will allow us to, AI to create, in-house training, right? That you can use a virtual training instead of hiring different sets. That is expensive. And so we're looking at some of that software. We got one that's going to be on the trial run here very shortly. You see the company called Avatar, I think, and it allows us to actually write scripts to create an AI presenter, and then it'll give you 10 questions, and you're looking at ways to do that. So those are a couple of examples. I'd like to be able to qualify all of that from a budgetary standpoint and from an impact standpoint. If we get this software, what will it do? What will it allow us to save, right, in terms of time and financial resources? How, they did it work that investment. So we have to have them. Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Patricia. Thank you. Say thank you.
I remove special education. John Hampton, does he have public ears?
Yes, sir. I'm Brenda Nader, my finance director, about the 2025 tax budget. I'm sure. But if anybody else.
Do you think that maybe or any person? Waiting for the flag to get up there. This flag will start with we should have answers for the The first two lines there at the top just show 2025 valuation. Every high year, there's a new valuation that happens. Right below that line shows 2000. So you can see that our property value did increase over this past week. With that being said, going down this list here, you can see the next section that has 2025 on the left margin there. It shows the current rate that we are requesting levy for the general fund and for the parks and recreation. And the section right below that are the rates from 2000. And as you can see, current proposed rates are actually decreasing from 2024 to 2025. And integrated right below this section here, you can see 5%. Personal property is actually equal. There was no decrease or decrease, so there's no change. With all of these numbers, the general gist of this is with the decreasing rates and the increased property valuation, the city of Ferguson actually takes in more revenue. Which you can see down here where it says difference in amounts. That illustrates the difference in revenue for each category. So for residential, because the valuation is higher, we're actually going to take $70,000 more for that. And as you go to the right, you can see the different amounts. Some of the categories, the revenue actually decreases, but all the way to the right, you see that the city of Ferguson actually increases revenue by 24% total. So that's the story about the general fund and parks and recreation. The last section of this illustration here is for the general bonds. And I don't have the numbers from 2024, but I will just briefly tell you what those were. In 2024, the general bond level was 0.01. I'm sorry, 0.20. And so this is actually an increase by about 5 cents over the year. And the cost of that increase, that we want to increase our reserve in this category to ensure that we can pay our current debt. We have a little bit left in reserve for let's say timing issues. If we have debt that's due at the beginning of the year that we haven't received revenue yet, we still need a reserve to take that fund or take those funds. To pay those debt. That we want any questions without
Any questions? From the council, Councilman Williams.
So, those will back in the north of the single way to well, that's that question. I don't think taxes are actually going. Every category of taxes actually decrease except for and that's actually unnecessary just to make sure that we pay that. We want to make sure if nothing else happens, that we pay our debts to our credit. As far as other ways to generate revenue, there are other ways to generate revenue, such as fees for different processes that proceed to based by license or the different categories of that. And then we also have other let's say tax buckets, for example, sewer lateral or the park meeting. So those are areas that we've been researching and looking into to increase to see how much that will pay. So we will getting that through. So that you know, that's not the way that the purpose is that run will control that. Okay.
Anyone else? Councilman Franklin.
So I'm gonna think back on what you brought up. Thing that was done, I would have said that's what phrase back will probably. For the versus tax rate. The power.
Anyone else? Councilman Gold.
Part B, so when you migrate to car, there's bigger fee that is captured in section C. When I did briefly analyze this, our fee is actually set both compared to all the other municipalities in St. Louis. So that's an area that we review and see if there is a merit. I believe that it is personal property, but it's a separate fee. It's not this personal property. This is gross. Correct, but it's not this these tax rates here. Those rates are set completely separate, and they actually already have come through. Correct. Yes. Basically, that's how tax rates work. They're broken down into buckets. So if you pay a 10% tax rate, now 10% is going to one portions of it going to. But the car registration fee or car fee is $2.50. So that's the $2.50 less than the average cost for all the other.
Any other questions? Thank you, appreciate you.
Here none.
Clerk, we have one sign for the public comments for this particular section on the taxes.
No, ma'am.
Okay, at this point, I close the public hearing. We move to our consent agenda. Our consent agenda is, minutes from our work session from 9/9/25. I request a motion in the section to approve. So yes, all in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. We move to the boards and commission meeting minutes. We have special business district board for August the 5th and the citizen review board for August the 11th. I request a motion in the second to receive and file the minutes from the commission meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I have one appointment for tonight. Deborah White Carter will be appointed to the Senior Citizen Board, and that is a mayoral appointment. And I'm appointing Deborah White Carter to the Senior Citizens Board. As we move on, we don't have any requests for tonight. We don't have a problem. So we move to our resolution. We have resolution number 2025-18. Without objection, it will be introduced by the mayor. Does anyone else would like to be a co-sponsor? At this time, hear none. Attorney Ron, could you please read the resolution?
Thank you, Mayor. A resolution of the city of Ferguson authorizing the city manager to enter into and execute a contract with Spencer Contracting for Robert Avenue STP 5583-610 construction services.
City manager.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is the STP and well for, this.
Which section of Robert is this? West side. So this is good to for the road. Was it include speed bumps? Thank you.
Anyone else? I requested a motion to the second for approval.
So moved.
Second reading of the Deputy Clerk London, please call the roll.
Councilman Noah? Councilwoman, Culbertson?
Aye.
Councilman Cassoff?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Franklin? Councilman Palmer? Councilman Williams?
Resolution number 2025-18. We move to resolution number 2025-19. Does anyone would like to sponsor this resolution? Please note, Councilwoman Covington would like to sponsor this resolution along with the mayor. Attorney Ryan, could you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the city of Ferguson requesting the council to authorize the purchase agreement by portion of Adams Street, immediately west of South Clay Avenue, between and adjacent to 153 and 201 South Clay Avenue. We sold to Mr. Diamond.
City manager.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this time in the. This was already ready for the council. And then something happened. But this is where we like that. Even if part of the.
And this is the sidewalk that ends at the railroad, right? Sidewalk. There's like, right, but there's a sidewalk there that used to be above the sidewalks. It goes alongside this nice house. I just make sure it's in the right spot. Okay.
Anyone else? Requesting a motion in a second for approval.
So moved.
Second reading of the Deputy Clerk London, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Noah? Councilwoman Culbertson?
Aye.
Councilman Cassoff?
Aye.
Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Councilman Franklin? Councilman Palmer? Councilman Williams?
Resolution number 2025-19 passed. We move to resolution number 2025-21. Anyone would like to sponsor this along with Councilman Cassoff? Attorney Ryan, could you please read the resolution?
Yes, ma'am. A resolution of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, levying its rates of ad valorem taxation on taxable property within the city for the year 2020.
City manager,
Yeah,
you can explain everything. Oh, I requested a motion of Councilwoman Knowles.
So,
Deputy Clerk London, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Long. Councilwoman Covington. Councilman Cassoff.
I,
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Councilman Franklin.
Aye.
Councilman Palmer. Councilman Williams.
Resolution number 2025-21. We have one bill for first reading tonight. Without objection, we will introduce this bill by Councilman Palmer and myself. Anyone else get me around? Attorney Ryan, could you please read the bill by title only?
This is bill number 7320, Mayor.
Bill number 7320.
Just wanted to make sure. An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, on behalf of the city to accept for the regulation of the health, welfare, benefit, morals, and beautification of the community.
City manager.
yeah, this is from our, yeah, a work session, that's a, how many companies you would say would not know about? It's not about.
thank you, Mayor Jones. After our work session, we have discussed about 45 properties that are actually closed on its sector. I researched the program and filers. That's the board is in front of you. I also wanted to talk about for really listening to the only making questions you have the work session. And also like two things still in the play. So we're trying to get them passed so we can continue to acquire the property. What will break down to $25 per property and $25 per
Thank you. We move to unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Councilman Cassoff.
Thank you, Mayor Jones. This is regarding the appropriation of FNI. And, as we discussed at work session, and unfortunately, there's no attorney present there. We have an email from our attorney which expresses concern about it, but did not provide any statutory reason why this appropriation was not permissible. I've been made aware that the appropriation has not been dispersed to FNIP, and of course, the continued ability of FNIP to issue grants to residents dependent on this funding. So, being as we have our city attorney here this evening, I wanted to proceed with that. What I'm looking for here is a specific statutory reason why this wouldn't be permissible. Under the EDST state law, I believe it's 25%, well, I'm not sure of the exact amount, of the funds must be put into a specific list of purposes for the state. Aside from that, there's a cap on the amount of administrative services. And other than that, the city is left to its discretion on how the money is spent, with the exception of a prohibition on appropriating money for retail developments outside of the downtown business. There's no argument that this is a retail development because it's an expenditure strictly for residential home improvements. So I'm wondering
in whether you are aware of any specific statutory reason why it would be impermissible to make this discussion.
Yeah, I'll just cite what, Attorney Carey, provided in his email on July 23rd, to the council, which is, the concern is that if FNIP is a fully independent board as opposed to one with a member of the city council on it, or one that the city council has administration of its board, then there's a step removed, and the reporting requirements and spending requirements are mandatory. You know, they're required to be done in the percentages they are, and the ability to ensure that by the city is less, the city is less capable to ensure that if FNIP is completely independent and those funds are not specifically designated for reportable programs.
So, the funds, when we make a report, it's a one-page. We don't tell them, this is the list of addresses, here are the products. They don't even want them. In fact, we, several years back, we had a staff person who wasn't aware of the correct procedure for filing that report. She turned in a report that was 5 or 6 pages long, if I recall correctly, and the state sent it back and said, no, that's not the format that you're supposed to be giving us. So, given the fact that FNIP is chartered for a very narrow purpose, and that purpose is something that would be permissible, maybe not in the 25%, but certainly within the remaining 75%. I'm going to ask you again, because Mr. Perry did not provide anything. Is there a specific statute that would prohibit this appropriation?
You know, again, I'll refer to what he laid out before, which I think the concern is that if, you know, the city makes a report, and if a line item has been given to FNIP, and the city is going to make a verification for how things were funded and in what percentages and stuff. But if FNIP is independent, then there's a degree of separation between the person who's affirming this to the state and the person who actually used the funds. So I think the concern is that, you know, we are less, we being the city, is less in control of reporting if the money, unless the money is specifically designated by the council to FNIP for this specific purpose. That way there's a direct line of the money granted to the purpose used, and for reporting purposes can be validated. I think that's the concern Mr. Perry raises in his amendment.
I believe the appropriation to FNIP was for a specific purpose. FNIP has established particular grant programs which have existed for years and are ongoing now. And this grant was to continue those programs. So, it isn't the case that FNIP will say, oh, well, you know, we've been doing home improvement grants for the last however many years, but this year we're going to take $300,000 and buy limousines for all the board members. That's the grant is for the purpose of continuing the programs that FNIP already has.
And I think the concern that what Mr. Carey is worried about, which I do think is a well-taken concern, is that, you know, that money is, you know, to FNIP for this purpose. But there's no ability of the city to monitor what if FNIP used 30% of that money for administrative costs, because only 25% of EDST funds can be used for staff and administrative costs. And even then, it's, you know, the way I read it is those are the staff and administrative costs of the city, not necessarily a third party. So now we're making reports and we have less ability to state definitively, you know, what the funds were used for. And I think that is the concern.
I believe it's, publishes a budget, they have one part-time administrator, their executive director is a volunteer, their board is unpaid, so there's no question that they're exceeding the limit of administrative costs on the amount we're appropriating them. As far as I am aware, now the FNIP director is actually sitting out here this evening, and if I'm wrong about this, please correct me. But I don't believe, we're talking about a $300,000 grant and a 20% limit. I don't believe FNIP is paying their part-time administrator more than $60,000, are they? They are not, but the record shows, the record is indicating they are not, so they are within limit. So again, I understand the concern, and I think it's legitimate for everybody on council to weigh their concerns and weigh their experience with the FNIP program. And if they don't trust the FNIP program, certainly vote against it. But as a matter of law, and I've asked this a few times, as a matter of, I understand concern. As a matter of law, I still haven't heard RSMO Act 123.45 says you can't appropriate funds to a not-for-profit unless you want to work or anything to that. Because this question never came up until we were thinking out of the loop in terms of board members. It's always been an independent not-for-profit. It's just that we appoint board members now don't. And I don't see anything in the statute that empowers, that places a requirement that if we're going to appropriate VST funds to not-for-profit, we must board members. I'm not aware of anything, and I looked, and that was really the question I had here. I don't want to do something that's illegal. But if it's not illegal, then it's a matter of how we feel about the program and the people running the program. And that's a judgment call for council, not a legal question, correct?
It's a hard question to answer, because if you're asking me, then it is a legal question, if you're asking our opinion.
If there is a legal issue, and if there's a legal issue, there has to be a statute.
Well, and I would say that there is a legal issue, you know, the statute, which is RSMO 67.1305, imposes reporting obligations and use obligations on the city. And the concern is that, you know, that this appropriation, when it was intended with, there would be someone from the city that was actually monitoring it. And now that there is not, the concern is whether or not those percentages and reporting can be done as accurately.
But
That's the concern.
The director of finance may access any of the financial records of the organization at any time. So the accountability is still there. All he has to do is pick up the phone and call the executive director and say, hey, I'd like to look at your books, and I trust that he'll do that. I don't know if that's ever been done in the past, to be honest. And again, the executive director down in the audience, has the city ever has the finance director ever came in and sat down and looked through the books? Speak of what?
We provided one report so far after that agreement. They weren't asked for, we had to agree upon 5 minutes ago.
But the appropriation does require that you give them access at any time.
At this time, Councilman Franklin, Councilman Palmer.
So I have a different question. I'm in government, I think. My concern is simply how we allocate those funds. I think we all know we put for our. But from my understanding, my background, you cannot quickly allocate too much, whether it is a grant or tax money, without a procurement process, without it going out to bid or someone applying for those funds. And what the council is doing is we allocating funds for organizations, because they have always been part of our city. That's why they changed the bylaws and curriculum to no longer be part of the city.
So what I would like from you tonight, or tomorrow, we email from legal opinion, or if it's possible, for a government entity to allocate money to a 501c organization. I don't think it is. It's a process that's followed. So in my opinion, why change something that's not good? So definitely, it's always been a part of our city. Second, that makes it easier for the fund, allocate funds to the program. But before, for the regular. Now, if they want to truly just be independent and say, thank you very much, but we're going to do that again, then they're going to have to follow the same rules that these other non-profits that will apply to those funds. So that's right, or whatever that's program. I mean, you guys give us a legal opinion of our money. But I don't think it is. We've never done this.
Councilman Palmer, we'll come to the close and we'll refer you back to Apollo.
Thank you.
I just want to remind you that everybody in Berkeley that the unanimously approved the motion. Unfiltered, global access for finding records. That is the access that is inadequate historically. Also, the game condition portal is having some presentation given by the record from the board. Also, I would argue that the oversight now actually greater than simply appointing board members. So the difference. Change fund and gain oversight with the director work. What we want from school, everything that happened here. So this program, the allocation being given. But part of the reason it's in this little meeting that we gave on, part of the reason that there was a packet from the city's appointment of the board of directors, that the board was because that connection to the city actually hampered economic feasibility to get from because they have provided to the city by arm's length. So Brian Bird arrives to help craft for bylaw change that gets suggested the change be made because FIP was not allowed to apply for many grants due to the city not being able to fully I'm just trying to bring some history to the changes. Thank you.
Okay. No, we'll finish.
I'm gonna make a motion. I have a motion out there.
What is your motion?
As council has already approved the appropriation of $300,000 from the EBST to FNIP, and having heard no statutory bar to disbursement of that appropriation, I move that we direct the city manager to disperse that funding not later than this Friday, September the 26th at 5 p.m.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions? It is the attorney's responsibility to keep the city out of possible litigation, allow dispersing taxpayers' dollars. The attorney is not, he sent an email. He is not comfortable with it. And until we get a definite answer from the attorney, I don't think we should move against the email that the attorney has given us. And if we do, and we get into litigation, then it costs the city additional costs. My question is, why is it that Apollo cannot state what he really needs to state by the next meeting? And then move forward. Moving forward now is premature. City manager.
Yeah, also on the funding, I don't know if I can get that $200,000 by Friday, by Friday. Okay, when's our next meeting? 2 weeks, so we're talking October. The 7th. The 7th. 14.
We need to say it will be in October.
Okay, so October the 14th. Which makes it, all right, I'm gonna tell you what. I will withdraw my motion. Well, you know what? I don't necessarily have a problem with waiting till the 7th. Okay, I mean, I don't think ESP's bank accounts could be down to give the next 4 weeks. But I'm gonna tell you this, I've been asking this question. I asked it 2 weeks ago at our work session, I asked it in emails, and I keep getting, well, we really don't, it makes us uneasy. I'm not asking for uneasy, so I'm gonna tell you something. When we come back here, if I withdraw the motion tonight, and I'm gonna wait to hear comments from my colleagues before I do. We're coming back to the 14th. And I don't care. If I don't have chapter and verse. The specific says why this is unlawful. That then we're gonna move to have that done by that Friday, October the 7th. So I don't know where that, what account that money is in or whatever, but that's coming on the 14th. So Apollo doesn't always answer my emails directly, so I'm gonna suggest that those of you who are opposed to giving this money to ESP, from ESP to FNIC, you contact Apollo and tell him chapter and verse, period. Not, we're uneasy, we advise, we think. Chapter and verse, that's all I've got to say about it. I'm gonna wait to hear from my colleagues before I withdraw the motion. If I withdraw the motion.
Councilwoman Lord and Councilwoman Covington.
Councilwoman Covington. Hi, Commissioner.
So I have we had a meeting with, so first it was okay, now it's not okay, the next one we have is gonna be okay, you don't know, roller coaster ride. We really said, check the bills to make sure we don't. Well, we can put it out there to give it. So I'm not understanding why we're taking back to them while all of a sudden. That's all. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lord.
It was allowing for. And we might be can do the really appropriate. That's because you know, because you don't feel what you want to. But it wasn't a huge problem. To do it out, you know, if there's some conflict, if there's a design conflict, if there's a plan to do it, I feel why should we do it hoping, talking about, practice it out, keep it on, maybe it's not. Stop person. And the sidewalks will come. And this is a photo of everything that you do. Again, a book created everything that you do. Okay, so everything I see, almost is not going to be. Because I think for them to be getting the chance to free, when we say like that, we cannot directly just drop them in. They're, something like email, at least $75,000. So, you know, we have to say all of these. Because $2,000 to the money, they didn't connect. It was one of those. So that's enough, because they need nothing. And again, we contact payers down, The thing, I mean, what property is has to be on here. But if it's just a, at a different place, and, you know, you just need to make it, how the rest of the help. So we don't need to do and I'll say you're doing it, I'll say it, I'll say it, words, everything like that. What we have to do, you know, with all the money, we work out, or tax, and then, if the program that everyone takes, a lot of people were not able to participate in those properties. So I'm 7 years older than me, and I don't feel like I have 7 million, the vote on be able to, you know, go back, the previous motion and second, and we originally voted, and the secretary for me, so that way it's not, you know, people know what it's going to be.
Councilman Franklin, Councilman Palmer, Councilman Covington, Councilman Giddy, anything to share. If not, in that order, then we'll go to, go back, for that to the attorney.
I'll just say that, human error is great. You need folks to allocate money. You know, take it back. There's nothing wrong with that, the city of council going out to do. So, I'm almost certain you can't give this money without an application. But we'll let the lawyers tell us what we can and can't do. But again, our job is to protect it first. So, thinking that at the end of the day, that's enough people to get money. I mean, the best step that was done, unless they want to come back home before the city. So, who knows,
The first about fall, no specific law preference, so the word we use that we get is uncomfortable, that word we do. You know,
If you give me one moment, Councilman. I have to. Yeah, concern and discomfort.
the city work we allocate, say, $5,000 for the annual rate, 1 year, put it on profit. That's not even in the city purpose and doesn't benefit the city purpose at all, that to give this one purpose. The city.
It would depend on the situation and on, you know, what ordinance it was being given, you know,
This year, we're on the ball. We
have to take a look.
city first, and we'll get some annual raise, no less than $30,000. I go and see three and bring it first. Bring it in on with. And give this during this time.
It would depend on how the question's framed. So what, specifically asking you, what the question would be, is there any reason for X, Y, or Z? And it's hard to answer that without, the specific framing.
So I do agree with the role of so we are on the road. We did this several weeks ago. You guys remember abstaining, but she wasn't sure, she wanted to hear from you. And she didn't want to give the money in practice. So we did talk to you, and he said, it's nothing wrong with us giving them money. Councilman Franklin did not vote until we had oversight. So once that oversight was granted, everybody was council voting. Everybody was council that you as not be on. But it's a great program. I mean,
$300,000 is a lot, but it's not. How? You think how many states they give out, how many people it help. And, you know, I'm trying to see, something frame, maybe we need to put application process, but that's in the future. We already made this agreement, this organization, help people. It's helped me to overcome. We voted in Kansas. So I do feel like we're both of good, David, bad, good, David, bad, so. But it's a good honor to environment, and then we have other quick those and work application process that are implemented. But it does not make it so critical. Or you make something. Take it back.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to amend the motion. I would like to amend the motion that funds be dispersed on September 26th or as soon as practicable without any further delay.
Any questions? I still remain the possibility of litigation, doing something wrong. Yes, I probably have not specifically given us an answer, but we will use one. Until then, we gotta stay out of litigation. You don't know what's gonna happen. We have to teach us look up from the state.
Well, the state law, the ability to pay for that, your court, not to pay $1. When you think of paying rent, then go out and pay for it. So that happens. Then my law is not. So $300,000, that's what we're paying right now. So the state will require that the people pay. Gotta go ahead and vote.
The competitive bid requirement under state law, which also does apply to Ferguson, is for procurement of goods or services. This is not that. We have had applications for grants. We've made some grants to other organizations in the past. You don't take competitive bids for grants.
Or so I'm very good. We can vote.
You all sitting in a dangerous position, and as the mayor of this city, I never project myself saying yes, the mayor, if don't do something that's gonna cause us harm of grief later. The money is in ESDT, not development sales tax. It's not burning nobody's pocket. Why is it that another couple of weeks, we cannot get a direct answer from the attorney? We hire an attorney to give us legal advice. When we start superseding what the attorney has to say to us, then all of us don't need to be sitting up here because there's no need for an attorney. $300,000 is not a drop in the bucket, it's taxpayers' money. And if the attorney has concerns, then we should wait and hear his concerns out.
Madam Mayor, we have had this conversation over and over again. So here's the deal. If this resolution passes, the check's not going out tomorrow. So if in the next couple of days, the attorney comes up with something specific, which I've been asking for weeks, I'm not gonna keep having this conversation. Somebody has to do their job. I'm not the attorney. The attorney tonight just referred us back to the email, which I've already said wasn't specific. I'm not asking for somebody's gut feeling, I'm asking for statute. I've been in enough courtrooms to know the difference, and if you stand in front of a judge and say, well, I'm uneasy with something, the judge doesn't care about that, they care about the law. So. The director of finance isn't gonna cut a check in the morning. He doesn't have to cut it till Friday or until they can have the money in the appropriate place, it might be next week. So if Mr. Carey would care to send us an email tomorrow or the next day, we could schedule a special meeting and cancel the whole thing. But let's be clear here. We're not just talking about delaying it another 2 weeks or another 4 weeks or another 3 months. If Mr. Carey does indeed have a legitimate statutory bar to us making this appropriation, then we need to rescind the appropriation. We need to completely eliminate it. We're not having that conversation at all. Nobody's ever even raised that except the Councilor Noah did, just a few minutes ago, and she's right. Councilor Noah's right. If it's illegal, they need to rescind the appropriation, not just kick the can down the road until the next council meeting. So I'm not going to withdraw my motion. If we hear from the attorney in the next couple of days, we can schedule a special meeting. It'll be a one subject, 5-minute Zoom meeting, and we can rescind this resolution. But you know what? I've been asking for this for a long time, and I keep getting the same generalities and runarounds. I'm done with it. I'm sorry. EDSP is an important program that helps countless people in this community. Every ward, every race, every income level. It's made a huge difference in the appearance of our community and the quality of our housing stock. And I'm tired of keeping it forward to the next council meeting repeatedly because we can't get a straight answer.
City manager,
Yeah, I was just gonna suggest that we do have that stuff. And
October 30th, September 30th.
yeah, no,
Okay.
and then I'll make sure to follow.
Present.
That is.
6 o'clock.
I would suggest that Apollo should send us an email before that. I would not like for Apollo to walk into the meeting and give us something on. This is an important matter. It's a matter of law. And I am just as supportive as my colleagues who are opposed to the resolution tonight, that we follow the law to the letter at all times. But we aren't obliged to follow the feelings and guesses and runarounds that we've got so far. I want specific law. And it should. You're not gonna be able to cut that check before next Tuesday. So if we get something substantial in our email, to the city attorney, prior to next Tuesday, we'll be able to act on it. And as I said, if the appropriation is unlawful, I don't wanna kick the can down the road. I don't wanna say, well, let's massage things a little bit. If it's illegal, it's illegal. We send the appropriation. But at this time, I have no reason to believe that it is, and I believe we should proceed. And the roller coaster, and as Councilor Williams said, keep our word to the community that we're going to fund this program.
So if you feel that way, then Forestwood Community Development Corporation has asked for $55,000 to do a historical site. So they are entitled to it also.
Nobody's entitled to it as a vote of the council. If a majority of council wants to give them the money, I don't think that would be unlawful. We have to decide whether that's a good use of $55,000 of city money. I don't think there's anything illegal about it. And when the representative of Forestwood came and made her ask for that, I never said it was illegal, but you know what? Nobody ever put in a bill asking for it. You're complaining that you didn't vote yes on a bill that's never been submitted.
City manager. Okay. Councilman Palmer, do we move forward?
I would welcome organizations and doing the great work. And if anybody knows any kind of great work, even if it's not the same work, anybody who makes that kind of impact and something kind of expertise, I would welcome people to invest in that organization. This organization, you see a return on investment almost 400%. You don't see that in any. But the fact that everybody's sitting up here but me is used this is hell. I mean, I sure hope that the people that are about to vote no, don't want this year. Well, if they were that principle, I would think that they're going to participate in organization that was still on. But I would welcome a proposal from the Forestwood Neighborhood Association or West Florissant Business District or Ferguson Business District or Business District. Come to us with planning, programming, financial acts, and what the fruits of the city's going to see for terms of investment, what the reality is.
And then $650,000 was not ESP money. It was American Rescue Plan money that was allocated from the federal government because of the pandemic, and everyone had the right to participate in it. Some people were not given the right to participate. Some people were declined. We have not seen the list of people who were not allocated any funds of that $650,000 of the American Rescue Plan Act. Where is that list? Councilman Franklin.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I was ready to get this over with for common. You use words like fraud and you better not find. So let's be clear, FNIP is a great program. I don't think anybody else can say that it's bad or there's fraud. I haven't been fraud money. So let's not act like we say this is of our city. The vast majority of residents in the community, which are asking there, but not take advantage of the program because they're not home. So that fact lets us know we're not helping the majority of persons. So let's stop pretending. Did I take advantage of it? Let's do it. It's my tax money for that pot. So I'm gonna take advantage of every opportunity to use money in my city where I can invest. But this isn't an issue of fraud about what's wrong. My word isn't enough for the world. Hopefully the attorney's word, because I know his word in the past is not good enough. And this is just another example why I say shortly, for you all to involve both for proper representation. But these people sitting up there, and most of them don't go to any neighborhood organization to talk to anybody. Point of order. I'm a speak. It's my turn.
You're attacking your colleagues.
Point of order for everyone. Okay. We had beaten this horse enough, and it's time to move on. So let's move on. You had a motion on the floor.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's been properly moved and seconded. Call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Noel, sorry.
Nay.
Councilwoman Culbertson.
Aye.
Councilman Cassoff.
Aye.
Councilman Franklin.
Hey.
Councilman Palmer. Councilman Williams. Mayor Jones.
No. Let's move on. You hear from the attorney. Let's move to new business. But we still unfinished business. I have an update on the TV conversation and Medicare.
Yeah, Corey's looking for that.
Any other unfinished business?
Zuma, I don't think it's.
Then, I do it, I'm like, they just don't want it. Yeah, we put some of the, one that might suit. Yeah, no, I'm getting it. Because there is people now, and we put, asphalt ones down, and so then I asked them, you guys put out one for the, like, school. But we all on,
This
from
picture,
school.
we can hear you. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I'm coming here.
Don't get something, I think about that.
We have unfinished business, someone has purchased the old swing club of Castro. And I talked to the two councilwomen and to the city manager and city manager.
This person does want to work for MSD, Hampton, and he wants to put days in. I was thinking, whatever he buys, part of the job as well. And just so he has everything. We're looking right now.
And we like to talk maybe with the neighborhood. So they have an opportunity to speak with you. And then speak with me.
And that could be part of the hearing, to make sure that we have a hearing, or if you guys want to hear them talk, we can go take the.
Okay, Councilman Palmer.
Earlier, it was no. The sales of time, I really for the no vote, it's not voting. It is.
Yeah.
I can say at the time for my school, I have not supported every district in that area specifically.
What he wants to do. with
Yes,
this property.
so he does a lot of work for MSD and for water company. And he wants to put it on like shelters or bays. Not the camp work, just want to put those, sort of back, put them in, and we can keep all the stuff that he. The shelter instead of on site.
Okay, so we can have one. I think that when I said that, I said, this can't be done to my story. It's always go. I mean, it's just, I have to be, I don't know what to do, or I want to go and. Here's the easy problem. Listen, that's what we do, or try to. But I guess, it's fine. Let's set up a meeting with the owner and go from there, Councilman Palmer.
Perfect, I'm along with staff, but it sounds like he looks at the stage material, excavators, spreaders, dump trucks, other things to the piece of the other. I'm doing sewer work, part of the Rock City.
I don't know, but. Knows that I see part. Yeah, it's not a specific purpose.
And we all know that the guys are, since the bottom. They were very show,
Yeah.
started running some truck and warm it up, and it's always out there and pull out these heavy trucks. Be careful with what you.
Councilman, that's all.
I mean, bottom line here is it's either a commercial or industrial use, it's not a residential use. Now, to Councilor Noah's point, there are people who may park a truck in their driveway for the heating and cooling company or something. That's different, but I think that if somebody were to say, I'm gonna buy a house and I'm gonna gravel the entire backyard and park 10 tree trucks back there every night, I don't think the city would allow it in a residential area. So at this point, that location is zoned residential. Whether it should be is a question. But the way to handle this, we can't, it's not a permissible use in a residential zoning area. So I don't see a pathway to doing this other than changing the zoning for that parcel. And I don't know whether
council or neighborhood would support that. But I think that's the only lawful way of allowing him to do what was asked. Yeah, so I want to be clear that we only had very small. We have not gone into, we don't know how we're going to stage it, all that, but maybe 15-20 minute conversation. So if there is nothing that Scott said, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. I don't think it matters how we stage this thing. But I'm just saying, it's not on the staff, so staff has, staff is still doing the job. We just don't dump on one thing. When that calls me 15, we about 15 minutes. Right. I got 20 other things, but that'll be that way. I understand. When it was brought up, I wanted to let you know where it's at. Sure. Thank you.
Councilman Palmer.
Currently, he already has done, they build.
I believe, yeah, I don't know. I have not, I don't have property.
I'm already operating on this place, I'm pretty, I know there's an equipment store there, but they didn't own it.
I don't know. I can send photos up there tomorrow.
The last time I was in the area, I noticed they do, that's in, then both swimming pools have been built.
The last time I was there, I saw a big, about a year ago, and that's the mayor one way.
Okay. You talk to him, and he with the people in his support. That's okay, okay. The other business I have is boards and commissions. And I just wanted to share with everyone that boards and commission serves as the pleasure of the council. The council, if you look at the organizational chart, boards and commission are the extension of the council. They are an advisory group, and the council select and asks people to serve on these boards. At no given time, the council has asked anyone from a board or a commission to go speak to a staff member about their job. That the council does not give that kind of direction to anyone who serves on a board or a committee. So I just want the council to know, I know we don't do it, and I'm breaking up here, but I would like to hope that you all will agree with me, give it directly to the city manager. If someone from the boards or a commission go to ascertain information from staff, that you ask them not to talk to them simply because the boards and commissions are the pleasure of the council and not to go around interacting with staff. Unless approved by the city manager.
I just want to mention the traffic commission works with a member of the police department on the place to put that in place. So they are interacting with staff in a way that I would.
I understand that, but staff knows that.
Right.
And the council knows the police department is working.
I'll say, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, they're working.
I don't want to outlaw that.
No, we don't. I'm saying ascertain different.
Okay.
That is not very important. Do we agree? Okay, all right. New business, any new business? Here none, let's move to miscellaneous. Let's start with Councilman Franklin.
So we start off by just apologizing to the mayor out of order from or from even listening to but I apologize. Just wanted to let the community know we've got a national night coming out, national night out coming out October 7th. Here in the whole town, we're having a block party over on Cross. All are invited. We've got a red circle. Lottery board are coming out to actually also public home program that the county was down there. And also have the programming for specific. Some do, the do better. For, elected officials, and think that would be very good. Also, I told the credit, Sunday before, man, from I told them, got another plan, so if you really need, Old Town Beach Rest, is what come out, like Sunday, October 5th, at 3 p.m. At the bar, we talk about, it's 1 hour. That's a perfect meeting for me to know, because it's, so long, people out there. What we make sure that our, and that's all I got. P1 from P1 is the part of Congress, so we have to. The one's not being impacted. So one. We need it in there. I'm gonna bring some therapy to, for the locations on different floor. Bring it in, notify, please. Say, so that, you know, fine. Everything, or letter, thoughts, cease and desist. All or negative, so, and all allocated with. Facebook, so I'm not going to be on Facebook and go back and forth. Just for morning. I don't care if it's off the top of the phone, that's your person in front. So if you say something that's false, my friends are going to get out to that makes call to the front holiday. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman, Saul.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay. Councilwoman Noah.
Thank you, Mayor Tony. I would like to thank,
Take the flags, we put them on the pole, and they disappeared within the week. And this year, we used banners that we hung them up high, so we can still have this, so.
If, with council appropriate money for the youth festival, find there for some money appropriate for the festival. American flags, for the other person, you have something that here that are active in the whole. Days, but that's a question.
What is the one to? And the baby. And, you know, we have it on, you know, how to deal with the. And I feel so much to get it from the court. And, there's people now, yeah, so I'm blessed these for me. For the Lord is more food and more food and I know you really confident. You want to be ready to and, well, I know what to do. But if we need to go. I really know what to do. You know, it's important. You know, you're like, yeah, you can, you know, when you go and find what you want. And, I would probably go and oh, there's no, you know, more, you just have to really. But I want to tell you know that you're better, you're coming along. And the council, you know, we have to get the music over again. You may not have to do, but you have to. Okay, I'm back to talk to
Just bring a little bit here. The exception of the program was kind of honest, well, they did that, they did on the full alcohol. They kind of the city always put on these, so it's work with them. Those who hold the full finger, package and full. Kind of made the function, don't get it for quite a while, like you're saying. 7 years ago, when there was a lot of using one full these fragments. Here's the fragments and full, get 60 to 70 flags and three orders. That was done by the first of the Main Street organization. They did it as well. Now I think it's time to volunteer. They're not really affiliated specific for going to the flag, but I wouldn't mind seeing that. You know, more fun to the city still providing support in poles and having rags and lights, so. Or, yeah, we refer to earlier, things that before that.
It's a nice thing.
Walk down the street, you know,
Assistant city manager, Brady, from the sheriff. City clerk.
I actually do. I wanted to thank the city manager, assistant city manager, and the mayor for suggesting that I take the Missouri Municipal League Conference sessions. They were helpful. I was able to meet a lot of city officials, finance directors, other city clerks, HR directors, and all of that. What I do now. Contracts, economic development. We went on some HR tasks and how to deal with disciplinary actions. We were able to talk about effective councils and so much more. So hopefully all those fresh ideas and meet with people and network with them will help me assist anybody in making efforts to make our community and the whole city better. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Attorney.
Just one thing, Mayor, I'll make it quick. Regarding the FNIP, just wanted to make sure, under no circumstances, has it been suggested that any money appropriated to FNIP would be, not well spent or fraudulent. The concern has always just been about whether a degree of separation creates an issue with the reporting and organization of that spending. So I just, didn't want any sort of implication to be on to the contrary.
Thank you, Attorney, City Manager.
Yes, Bear, I think October 11th, according to the flyer with you guys, but I think we're going to try to do some sort of cleanup. Just everybody saw the property that it shows, we cleaned it up today. I worked with the owner of the complex. We did, we're gonna build them and so. And then, for rest of the room, we do have 3 lawsuits. And, okay.
You know, say, at this point, share with this group, she's small. But give her an opportunity to look at the 1964 Civil Rights Act. In the 1965, the Police Act, everyone had a choice. No one can dictate to anybody what they should do with their choice of vote. So I just offered her 1964 Civil Rights, 1965 Police Act. No one can dictate to somebody else. It's against the law to do it. So at this time, I need a motion in the,
So will, second.
it has been properly been second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Is that? Move us to, who Swift was like, so.
You're gonna find them. But David, did it for 8 years.
No,
You have to get it for 8 years.
it's not easy now. I'm learning as I go.